All right. On today's episode of Garage Talk, I got a big announcement.
But the show's continuing. He's not leaving. Don't worry. It's not that announcement. We're going to go over the new F1 schedule and how it's irking some people.
And we're going to look at the weekend of racing that's coming up here. All that and more right now.
Welcome to an all new episode of F Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I'm Eric Richardson.
So I think we're going to discuss the elephant in the room right now. Eric, why is there a big box behind you?
Oh, you talking about the moving box right there?
The moving box.
Yeah, it's fully official now. Been up in Michigan for a few years and heading on down to Orlando.
Gonna be Florida man.
Yep. Hopefully not. I do not want to make the news for that.
Yeah, wrestle them gators.
No, we'll actually be pretty close to a couple of our drivers, Tyler and Lucas.
Yeah.
So that's a fun time to meet up with him.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm sporting the Talladega, Alabama shirt today that found this on Amazon. I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. So I don't know who made this or whatever, but I'm like, that looks cool. It's got like this kind of retro, like 80s throwback look to it. So
Yeah, for sure.
shout out to whoever did that on Amazon. But yes, you are packing up and leaving. So the next and this is our last episode. We're gonna have a week off for summer break, probably a week off. Maybe we could make
Yeah,
it
it
two.
might be two, just depends how, 'cause we are taking a few days to get down there, just break it up.
So
So I'll get in Tuesday night pretty much. So that's part of the reason why we're off. You're on vacation.
I am getting, yes, it's just the timing of it just I didn't ideally like I like, yeah, if I disappear for a week, Eric can pick up, and Eric's like, I'm moving. I'm like, oh. So I was talking a couple of the drivers post race. We did a race of the new Gen 4 car tonight, and they're like, Mom and Dad are gone. Let the chaos begin. So I
I
said,
whoever said that, I started laughing. That's
yeah,
fun.
yeah. So Talk will be hiding in the background just to make sure things don't get out of hand. I don't, they won't.
That'll be good.
They'll be fine. I actually, before I signed off, I go, no, you guys behave next week. So IRP, not really upset that I'm missing IRP. It's kind of a fun drive in that truck. I got this like really wide, flat turn, and you can really, if you get your entrance right and you time that exit, you can really just fly coming out of two and out of four. And um, yeah, it's like I said, I'm not too terribly upset I'm missing it, but I will be out this week, and then following week we'll be debuting Bottom Split.
Yeah, it's fun getting that up and going and getting some drivers into it.
Yeah, I think the count right now is either 8 or 9 full-time drivers, and we have like 3 part-time drivers will be running a few races here and there. That includes me. I'm not running a full schedule, and I think you're gonna run like one race is your plan.
Maybe. It just all
So
depends. I
once,
don't even know fully when I'll be back up and racing, to be honest.
fortunately, you don't have to reassemble a sim rig right now. So
Hmm.
anywhere there's a table, you can race.
Yeah,
Which
maybe I'll be able to make an excuse. I need to at least get the
it's a business.
stand.
It's for business. You're not playing around. It's for business.
Yeah, I at least need to get the wheel stand so I can keep that and then easier to move a monitor and go wherever I have to.
We yeah, it is kind of funny that we are we've through all this we've done, we formed our own LLC. We are a actual business. We pay taxes. We have a business license on, I mean, we don't, not shocking. We don't, yes.
Great.
There you go. We got our logo trademarked and registered trademarked through the USPTO. So yes, we have turned a business into essentially playing video games and just doing this and some social media stuff. So while I think our wives think we're just goofing around, but we are, but it's a business. Got work stuff to do.
Yep.
When we got our first I'll never forget this. The first time we got any kind of like affiliate payout for anything, I forget what it was, but um when we forgot that first affiliate money, I went back to my parents and I said, "Hey, remember how you told me as a kid I'd never be able to make any money playing video games and you can't make a career out of playing video games? Well, I am proving you wrong."
Well, we got to figure out something here in 2 days. When this airs, I will officially not have a job, so
Yes,
gotta pay the bills.
got to pay the bills. So, yep, Erik will be looking as soon as he gets down there. Um, so we're gonna keep this one kind of short because Erik has to get back to packing. And
Doing the important things though. Got to do this before packing, right?
yeah, of course, you're probably getting cussed at in the back, just like I'm being cussed at because my kids are still not in bed right now, but it's summertime, so whatever. Um, Formula One released their 2026 schedule,
What are they
and
doing?
and under the claim of, they're trying to make the track travel between the tracks a little more efficient. They got their whole net zero 2030 pledge that they moved Monaco into June.
Makes sense.
And
Pair up with the other European
yeah,
races.
sure, fair. But they decided that they're going to have the Canadian Grand Prix uh, during the Indy 500. And
Literally during.
during, like, it'll be in the last, probably, I don't know, third of the race will be the start of the Canadian Grand Prix.
'Cause Indy usually starts like 12:30, 12:45. Some years it's been noon.
Yeah, depend if rain. But
Some years it's been 4:30.
and the other thing too is the Barcelona race is Le Mans weekend. And I mean, I guess Canadian Grand Prix is this weekend as well, so it's Le Mans weekend as well. But it's like you're battling two of the biggest. I mean, they've already are this year with uh
Two of the biggest, most
Canadian.
prestigious
Yeah,
races out there, and you're gonna go up against them.
and the reaction's been very mixed. There's some of the stereotypical the F1 snob, like, does anybody actually care about the Indy 500 anymore? Yes.
The peak of 8 million
Yeah,
people tuned in this year.
yeah, yes. And the other thing too is there's a reason why after Monaco, all the drivers try to get through their post interviews and everything, all their media stuff as quickly as they can so they can run back to their whatevers and watch the Indy 500.
And what, 5 or 6 of the drivers live in Monaco. So
Yeah.
they're running home.
Yeah, they're running home.
Well, and we gotta point out too, they're trying to make this regional schedule. The Miami Grand Prix and Canadian Grand Prix, something. It's been a long day, are 3 weeks apart.
Yeah.
So that does not make sense. The teams
Well,
will not
the
stay
argument
stateside, will
the
they?
argument the argument on that is fair because if you push as a future Florida man, if you push things into outdoor events further into May or into June, it gets pretty nasty out there. The
I've
problem,
been down there in February when it's 90 degrees.
yeah. So it's like it's not nice, not good for anybody. Then the other part of the problem is if you push Canada any earlier, you might need snow tires.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, I get the gap, but the fact that like you're trying to put this almost directly in competition with the Indy 500 just seems like a straight up arrogance move to try to pull away some of that US audience. And what was Monaco's audience this year? I don't think I
I
saw.
remember seeing, I know Canada puts on a pretty decent race
Yeah,
and a
yeah, I
good
agree.
event, not to take anything away from that, but going up
Uh,
against Indy 500 that's gonna be tough.
So this year, Monaco did 2.3 million viewers. But how many of those people like they call that day Motorsports Christmas because, and it's early for me. I get up at 6 a.m. and I watch Monaco. Monaco would basically be over. Then you turn on the 500. 500 ends on time, maybe. And then there's about an hour, half hour or so. And then the Coca-Cola 600 comes on. And Scott McLaughlin's like, you've ruined F1 has ruined motorsports Christmas. And
It's
I
one of the single greatest days to
it
watch
is.
racing of the year.
It is. It's like next year, motorsports Christmas is on my birthday. It every so many years it's on my birthday, but it's at least my birthday weekend, every weekend, because my way it falls. And that's like my thing to do is every year I just want to be left alone so I can just sit on the couch. I get up at 6 a.m. Nobody else is awake. I watch Monaco. And then people start waking up in the house. I watch Indy. You go away. Don't you dare touch that TV. And then I put the Coca-Cola 600 on in the background as I go through the afternoon. And I do that every year. I've done that every year for several years. And next year, honestly, if you know what, I'm going to watch the 500 because one, you can call me an Indy homer all you want, but honestly, like if Monaco was like there are races I will not get up for because they start extremely early on Pacific time. If Monaco was any other day, I would not get up for it. Like that would be one of those that I would just catch the replay later. I would not wake up early to watch it. It's just not exciting.
Yeah, it's a parade. There's no passing.
But even with the Canadian Grand Prix next year on that day, it's like, yeah, I'll turn into it after the 500's over.
Yeah, once the 500 ends, if it's still running, I'll catch the last few laps.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll pull it up
But
on the
I'm
on the
not,
phone or the tablet and see the starts, see if anybody wrecks turn one, lap one that you occasionally have, and then after that, full attention back to the 500 for the
yeah,
rest of the
I will
race.
not change the channel.
No, not happening.
Once Indy pre-race comes on, that's it. Sorry, F1.
I mean, it's just like Liberty Media, U.S. company, they're trying to dig into the U.S. market further. They're trying to take advantage. It's the reason why they have three races in the U.S. They're trying to get that U.S. television audience, the U.S. sponsorship dollars out of it. They want that U.S. audience, but it's not. I don't think this is going to go very well.
No, it's gonna be really fun to see the ratings
I mean, what they'll be
have the
okay.
comparison.
Like when they do like the average, the first half it'll be low, but then people kind of tune into the end of it. But overall, it's not what you want. I just don't see this going well for them. I don't care.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to follow along and see if they make any adjustments or push the start time by 30 minutes or
I mean, if they did that,
if
if
you
it
could you
if
could
it, if
start
it
at
starts on
three
time,
o'clock
yeah, if you
because that
push it
race is
to
gonna be done by 4:30.
yeah,
So you got plenty of daylight. It'll be just fine. So
only need
you
90 minutes for a typical
yeah, you
F1
don't need
race.
long. And if Indy starts on time, to have weather delays 3 years in a row would be unheard of. 2 years in a row
I mean, we
is
don't
crazy.
we've been saying we live in unprecedented times since well, what are we at? Like year I don't know, where are we at? Year 24, year 25 of unprecedented times for
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's always something. Yeah, I'd say that's yeah, right. It's like, can we just go back to things were boring?
It's I I would be submit a proposal, start your race at 3. It's going to line up a little bit better and you're going to get a better audience.
I agree. I agree with you.
If you could find a way to do 3:30, you're golden. You're going to get a massive audience because you have the gap to the Coke 600. So people are going to tune in
Yeah, as long as there's not a rain delay
and
at Indy, yeah.
you will snag a casual viewer. If you're overlapping, it's going to be hard.
So
But we'll see.
NASCAR news this week. We had the Michigan race. The race itself was pretty decent, and then the end kind of fell flat at the end.
Stage two is the best. They were starting to race. Then stage three just turned into fuel mileage.
It was good until Hocevar's tire went down. That was kind of the end of it for me. I was like, ah.
Yeah, I was hoping to see him win. So we talked last week, like, are we going to see Hocevar win a race this season?
Yeah.
We knew he was about 4 laps short, though.
Denny Hamlin had really nice words for him post race, and he's like, I give him crap every week, pretty much every week on my podcast. But like, as far as like raw talent goes, he's a top driver in the series, and it's like once he learns to harness that just a little bit and decide instead of always being aggressive, picking his points to be aggressive, he's like, you have 5 or 6 elite drivers in the series at any given time, and he 100% has the ability to be a top 5 driver in the series. And I do agree.
Mhm.
He has a lot of raw talent. He gets on people's nerves.
A lot of drivers have done that. It's just a shame. That would have been a fun race to watch without stages.
I agree. I think that would have been a lot of fun just to see it run.
'Cause it would have been a great strategy race. Those stages, they just it takes out so much strategy.
It's like I get it in the sense that the average audience, their attention span is shorter and it breaks it up into segments, which is from that standpoint, okay. But it's like there's got to be something different that you can do.
Yeah, if you're not worrying about running for stage points, or maybe you are just trying to pick up a couple running 10th place, like, oh, the leaders ran out 20 seconds ahead of me. Yeah, I don't care. I'll be right behind him here in another 20 laps because we'll get a caution and that's it. Then I'll start to run. It just takes away the race.
I mean, maybe you just take some Wednesday night dash rules and just boost the bonus points. I mean, back in the day, wasn't it like 5 points for a lap led or something like that? If like Winston Cup days.
Yeah, wasn't it? You got 1 point or 5 points if you let a lap, 5 points leading the most laps. And didn't they have points too if you let it halfway? Like another bonus point?
I feel like that was the case, but I don't.
I don't
Uh,
remember. It's
but
been a few
I
years
you
now.
can
You got to amp up the racing somehow.
I mean I think you can put incentives through the race other than going for that stage win.
Hmm. Well, and you would see some random drivers leading laps just because they ran a different
Promoter's
strategy.
caution. You pick a promoter's caution at some point, and then the top 10 at the the promoter's caution gets stage points basically. That would be. Could you imagine that if they put a promoter's caution into NASCAR? That would be absurd.
If they do that for a regular race, I quit watching.
That would be like the most gimmicky thing ever. That and like, oh, I forget I suggested that. That was a terrible idea. Uh,
Well,
because then
can't
it's
wait to
like, all
listen
right,
to things
it's like I don't like this driver. I'm gonna wait for him to pit, and then I'm gonna throw
we're gonna
promoter's
wait for the
caution.
leaders to pit. Then we're gonna throw the caution and trap people a lap down.
Yeah. Well, and even if they weren't intending on doing that, I mean, I guess. Well, I was about to say, I guess the promoter could like pre-pick the caution lap before the race and put it in like an envelope and then open the envelope. But then we're gonna turn into the NBA draft lottery and everybody like, ah, it was rigged. It was rigged. How did Dallas get the number one pick?
The
How did LeBron
team
end
that
up in
has a zero
Cleveland?
point zero 0.02 chance wins the lottery.
Yeah. I mean, it's the lottery.
It
Patrick
is.
Ewing ends up in New York. Yeah, it's that was actually the um the start of the draft lottery conspiracy was people accused the NBA of rigging it, and that the envelope with the Knicks was slightly bent. So when they went to pick the random envelope for who was going to get the first pick, they knew which one was the Knicks because it had a bend in the envelope, and so they picked that one.
Speaking of the Knicks, Pacers won game three,
They did. They
116 to 107.
they were underdogs at home. I saw Reggie Miller was there sitting courtside wearing his own jersey, or I think he was wearing his own jersey.
That's awesome.
Like I've said this before, if I was a professional athlete and had a good career and I went to a game, I would totally wear my own jersey to the game because like I mean you've earned it at that point. You put all that time, you're the like he's the Indiana Pacers greatest player in franchise history. And I don't think there's even a question.
Yeah, I they've had some really good players, but I would give
But
that one
none
to
none
him.
none of them had the same impact that he did.
No.
I mean, even you go back to the ABA days where they had these really good teams that won ABA championships. I don't think they touched Reggie Miller. He single-handedly made them relevant in the 90s. And then they put some pieces around him and then they started making these playoff runs. Never won it all. And, his career was marred by a riot in Auburn Hills, Michigan, but that's for another don't need to relive
I
that one.
was driving to come visit you guys the night that happened.
That was so wild. All right. So we got a schedule this weekend. We've got IndyCar going to Gateway. We've got Le Mans this weekend. We got the Canadian Grand Prix. NASCAR is going to Mexico City. And neither of us are going to watch any of it.
Yeah, I'll hopefully somehow catch a replay yeah, I'll be driving.
I mean, the nice thing about, at least with like NASCAR on Prime, you don't have to record anything. I don't have to tell Hulu to record it. I just go into Prime and catch the replay. And then I can watch, I can skip through the boring parts and
I'll have to see how it works with Hulu Mobile, but I don't even know if I'll be able to watch that because it's going to say you're in a different zip code. You can't watch this.
I think you have like a week or something like that. But you'd have to what you have to do is you have to change your billing address when you get to your new place. And then that would become your home zone. And then that
Hmm.
you have to connect to the internet from your home to make that your home zone. But I think you have like a week. Uh, so you can watch it like while you're traveling short term.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I can watch something or catch highlights.
Go turn on Prime. I think the only thing that's about Prime right now that's kind of driving me nuts is every time they come back from break or they do a segment change, they play that same John Fogerty riff, and like it's fine. It's a good song, but it's like hearing that same like every time it goes back from commercial. I'm like, oh, please stop, please stop. But oh man, I don't know. So we have a McLaren 1-2 in Canada this weekend.
Yeah, probably. I think the bigger question is Max going to run into anybody?
He gets that suspension.
Does he just do it now just to
There, there's
do it?
two schools of thought with Max right now, and that Max is going to pull off this miraculous comeback and come back and win the championship, which seems unlikely. Or so we cut, and honestly, I don't remember. We were still kind of talking. I think Max in the
Yeah, kind of debating what Max is going
yeah.
to do.
So does Max this miraculous comeback and win, or does he just say ah heck with it? And honestly, if he says ah heck with it and gets himself suspended, yes. I kind of think that that might be it for him at Red Bull.
Yeah, if you, I almost feel like he just wants to throw in the towel on the season because he doesn't like where the car's at. It's not getting better. It's clear that it's only built for him. Is even now Marco is getting grief of like, what are you doing with Yuki? 'Cause he scored what, 1 point in the last three races and is not even getting out of Q1.
And I did see too that Marco is trying to set up his replacement for when he retires. Sebastian Vettel is his personal choice, it sounds like, which could be interesting.
Seen mixed reviews on that.
I mean, it's always questionable when you take a driver. It's the same thing in any sport. When you take a star and you put them into coaching or management, a lot of times the star doesn't work out either because of, and I'm not saying this about him specifically, but so many times you've got these stars that they can't teach. There's some arrogance there, and they can't transfer. Like the reason they were stars is because they were elite skilled, and you can't teach elite skill.
Well, good example, Wayne Gretzky. He
No,
coached for a little bit.
he did. He wasn't terrible. I can think of worse examples.
Yeah, he was solid, but not one of the what you would consider one of the all-time greats in coaching. But there's much worse.
I mean, Derek Jeter as an executive that was bad. I'm trying to think who else.
John Elway, executive.
Yeah, John Elway is an executive. Although
They've been
he did get a Super Bowl at least as an executive. He was still there for when Peyton won.
mhm,
Peyton Manning with his arm falling off and his neck falling apart.
still got it.
But yeah, it's just and there's a reason why a lot of
It's
these
hard to
star
know.
players like you look at some of these best managers and you look at like they were terrible players or they were just like they were fringe bench guys. And and
That they spent more time watching the game and
yeah,
learning more nuance and figure things out.
I honestly like if you look at any manager in baseball or a coach in basket, I mean, the biggest star who's a coach right now from a player standpoint is Jason Kidd. And is Jason Kidd a good coach? I don't I mean, he's good enough that the Knicks want him, but I guess that doesn't really say much. But
I feel like it's hard to really compare anything with the NBA nowadays because the game has changed so much, and it's do the coaches even coach at this point?
I mean, I think it's as much like personality management versus X's and O's. And you look at soccer, for example, and you look at Real Madrid. And Real Madrid arguably had one of the best like last decades ever, with Zidane as their manager. And it's like, was he like the best like tactical manager out there? Probably not. But something about him, he could keep all that, you're dealing with Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably one of the top two biggest soccer stars in the world, and a whole bunch of other elite stars. And Real Madrid was always throwing money at everybody. And it's like so many times you throw so much money and you put these super teams together and they don't work out because the
Hmm.
personality clashes or you don't have a coach who can manage that. You don't have Phil Jackson keeping the Bulls together with, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and the reason that San Antonio traded Dennis Rodman to the Bulls was because they thought that Dennis Rodman was going to destroy the Bulls dynasty. And they end up winning like three more with him.
Yep.
And that's as much because Phil Jackson was as much personality manager as he was X's and O's guys. He just happened to be good at both.
I wonder if the players were just afraid of being headbutt by him.
That could be too. But yeah, but look, and Phil Jackson, he goes out to Los Angeles and has to deal with Kobe and Shaq. And that, I mean, that fell apart eventually, but he kept that together long enough.
Still got some titles.
It's just, it's as much like your elite coaches are elite personality managers first and X's and O's second. And I think that
Mhm.
applies in pretty much any team environment. Um, you look at like why Joe Gibbs is successful in NASCAR, why Rick Hendrick is successful, and it's because they can manage those personalities. I mean, granted, like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson weren't exactly the most like explosive personalities out there on the track, but like Joe Gibbs, look at who he's had to deal with over the years. He's had as Denny Hamlin, he had Kyle Busch, he had Tony Stewart, he had a young Joey Logano in there, and that's just
Some infamous hotheads.
yeah, he had a lot of high heads, but you know what? He kept those groups together because he knew how to manage personalities and he knew how to command respect among those people that they respected Coach Gibbs.
And
You know,
there's championships on the wall.
that's he's also a football coach too, so
Very
that probably
successful football coach.
yeah, right. And that
So it shows like
we
it's
don't even talk about that because it's been so long that he's been out of the NFL. But it's like he's a Hall of Fame football coach too, by the way.
so it just shows the personality management that he has.
I mean, Carl Edwards was part of his team. Look at some of these guys that he has to deal with, and he holds it together.
And things like that always starts at the top, works its way down.
I'm getting knocked on the door.
It's the 2 minute warning to wrap up.
All right. Yep. That was the producer saying wrap it. So it's gonna be our shortest one in a while. But Eric, good luck on your
A lot going
move
on. Thank you.
and get you back in the seat of your sim soon, hopefully.
Hopefully it's sooner than later. Got to make sure I get a job squared away first, and then I'll figure out internet and stuff. Make sure that's solid, so I'm not blinking right and left because I want to be competitive, not just running laps.
Like I said, worst case scenario, long Ethernet cable.
Yes.
Long Ethernet cable. All right, so
I'm
we're
gonna
off
figure it
next week for our break. We still have a little more time until June 30th to get the William Byron autograph diecast, fracingonline.com/contest. We're still taking a few more drivers for the bottom split racing series. You're new to oval, you're bad at oval, you need work on oval. Go to fracingonline.com/BSRS and learn about the eligibility and register there. It's a $10 broadcast fee bi-weekly Monday nights. Sessions start at 10 p.m. I think it's 10 p.m. I don't know. I got to check that. The race starts at 10:15 and hope to see you out there.
Yeah, come out, join us. Still got Indy Racing World Series coming up for season 6, and if you want to race Wednesday nights, we can still do that.
Oh, and we need an announcer there too. Oh, it's never ending, is it?
Oh no, it keeps going.
Yeah. Something is always changing, but yep. So we're looking for a new broadcaster for Indy Racing World Series Tuesday night. If you're interested, get in touch with us and see you when we get back.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.